You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, team. Johnson.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV Spartacus After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV Spartacus After Show.
Woo! We always have to start off with the cheer because we are so excited every Friday to bring you Spartacus. And this time we are unfortunately coming to an end. It is a season finale, Spartacus Vengeance, Season 2, Episode 10, Wrath of the Gods. And I think that it should be Vengeance Paid in Full. It should be the title, but that's okay. I am your host, Spicy Madi, and I'm joined with the amazing Sean Overman today, bringing you the AFTERBUZZ After Show for Spartacus Vengeance.
That's right, Spicy. So, man, I cannot believe the finale's
I'm trying not
finally
to cry
here.
right now.
And it was sure wrathful. There was a lot of vengeance going on. And let's bring it to the outline of what we're going to do on this show today. So we're going to talk about our relationships like
You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Just in case.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I don't want that. I didn't want that to be the last one.
So let's really talk about the character that kind of got his name. That let's see, one of the German guys, and we will have a couple seconds, or maybe a brief, just 1 second of silence.
Moment in silence.
For
Yes.
the characters that we lost. So we'll talk about them. Everybody that we lost. I can't believe it,
The
man.
Fallen.
Oh, the Fallen.
I can't take it.
We're also going to talk about our favorite quotes of this episode. We'll do a little commercial break. We'll have our shout-outs to our fans on the Twittersphere.
Yes, we
out
love
there,
you guys.
on YouTube, Facebook, everybody following us and tweeting at us and commenting us. We'll also talk about news and gossip. We'll do a little bit of predictions for what we think is going to happen in Season 3. And then we'll wrap up the show.
So excited that there is a Season 3.
Yes,
I need
I'm
more.
glad.
I can't believe it's over. It feels like it just started.
I know. It's seriously that it felt like it was such a short episode, didn't it?
It did. It went by way too quick. It definitely did. And I unlike you, wanted more blood and guts right from the jump. But we got to start off seeing Spartacus and Mira. And that kind of, you said that there was like a sneak little tidbit that they gave us about what was going to happen to Mira this episode.
It felt like there was some foreshadowing there when she mentions, "I hope your next woman, is carrying," or something like that.
Yeah.
I forgot what exactly it was. I didn't write that down as my quote, but
I had no idea that she was going to die. I
didn't either.
honestly thought that she was just being a woman in that moment and kind of, putting it out there that there's going to be somebody after her since she's not the chosen one for Spartacus.
Yeah.
But I did not expect that the Germans were going to take it upon themselves and, of course, not listen to Spartacus. I thought they learned their lesson by now.
Well, they just don't like listening to him, and who knows how long they've been up there. Maybe they just got desperate and they wanted to climb down the mountain and try to fend for themselves. Maybe they thought a small contingent, that clutch of them, would be able to get through, but it didn't seem like it.
But none of them have, in any episode, defeated any of the Romans on their own. And whenever they do not follow Spartacus's command, there's always somebody lost. And this time it was the expense of Mira's life.
That's right. And this wasn't a mistake that Spartacus made, thankfully, but he went to correct their mistake and he paid for it. Rather, she paid for it, and I'm going to be missing Mira. Oh.
Well, that's kind of tough to say because the German who he confronted about it, who he started beating up because Mira got hit in the chest with an axe,
Yes.
said that this is his fault. Like, you're the one who led us to our death.
Oh yeah.
So it kind of in a way is Spartacus's fault, and he even took responsibility for it and said you're right and stopped beating the living crap out of him.
That's a good point. See, good point there. But you know, it's all about perspective, man. I thought it was the Germans' fault because they're the ones like I would if I was them.
Ornery.
He was being honorable. He was, again, he's like taking everybody's sins and he's putting it upon himself.
Well, no, I was saying that the German was being ornery he was being ornery by not listening to Spartacus.
Oh yeah.
But yes, Spartacus is of course the honorable one once again.
As usual.
Although he was a little misbehaved this episode.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, like there's a couple times that we'll talk about later on that I was surprised he approved people dying. Because he usually doesn't do that. He usually is like, no, let them go free. But he didn't do that this episode.
And I know exactly who you're talking about.
We'll get to that, though.
So Spartacus, he comes up with the rebels, and he's actually talking about, doing a bold move. Like Gannicus and him had a little bit of a conversation, and they were like, your bold tactics are what's leading the people. So you got to do something.
Right.
So he thinks and he says this, and like, okay, we got to get some vines. We got to rappel down the mountain. Crazy tactics. So they eventually, get enough vines for the men. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But on the other side, on the flip side of what's going on, we got Glaber and Ashur. And their relationship, as usual.
I spit on them.
Yes, with the Roman and his loyal dog,
right,
Ashur.
Supposedly loyal.
And he was loyal to an extent,
well,
actually.
we know that Ashur was, but he still, as they would say, is a serpent.
Yes, exactly. He is a serpent. He's a snake, venomous to the end.
And Glaber wasn't so much, well, he did set him up this episode. I feel like every episode somebody gets set up, and Glaber tested Ashur's faith and his faithfulness to him this episode.
Yeah, big time power plays.
But he always does that to Ashur.
Oh yeah, of course.
And Ashur falls right for it.
He uses him. He's a tool to be used that goes through the shadows, is sleuthing around in the grass like a snake does.
Well, I love that he tested him and said and repeated his own words. My will, your hand. You said it yourself.
Yes.
And definitely made him prove it.
Yeah, that's right. So, when Ashur came back from the mountain, he indicated to Glaber that Spartacus is like this beast. Like when he saw him, he was like, "There's this beast that's behind that man's eyes." So he was talking to him about that stuff. Later on, we see that bracelet that we'd been talking about the last couple episodes.
Piece of jewelry that keeps popping up,
and it got Ashur in trouble finally.
Well, of course, leave it to Lucretia and Ilithyia to plot and scheme and try to turn Glaber against Ashur, because Ashur has been being loyal, and unfortunately he was getting lied on. But every single episode we see those two getting somebody killed based on, first it was Seppia and now it's Ashur. And I knew that when they were plotting that it was going to be something. I didn't know how they were going to get out of this one from Lucretia marrying Ashur. I didn't know how they were going to play that, but Ilithyia is a pretty smart cookie.
Yeah, I didn't know either, but I knew that it couldn't happen. There was no way that Ashur could end up being the head of the house, because he's, number one, he's a slave.
Right.
Number two, he's the worst guy on the show. He's the most dishonorable man. So I knew he had to die this season, and thankfully he got his comeuppings here at the end.
I'm sorry, I hate Ashur.
Yeah.
But that's what makes his character so freaking good.
Yes.
Is that when an actor is able to actually create an emotion from us where we despise you, and I even said it, I was like, if I ever met him in person, I probably would have, some awful words for him, even though it's just his character.
Or just slap him.
Yeah, I mean, because he has done so much harm. And so I finally feel like Naevia this episode, where it's like, oh, I want to kill you. But I am still sad to see him go.
Yeah, I am too, and it was pretty amazing too, because I felt like there was a chance that he would actually live. Remember when the bracelet comes out and then Glaber accuses him?
Right.
He pulled his blade on Glaber. That was a pretty ballsy move.
That was an intense scene.
Yeah.
Because he was standing up to the man who he supposedly is honoring, and like you said, is his dog. But for you to stand up to your master, and like as if you really were going to defeat him in the Romans.
Yeah, and Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, but were you surprised that they had his back at first?
I was.
His men.
His men looked like they cared about him. And right before that scene came in, Ashur is actually talking with his men, and he's about to say, "Swear your allegiance to me, because you're gonna be my new guys in the house of Ashur." And then they get interrupted when Lucretia comes in and Ilithyia comes in, and that's where he got screwed over right then, because they revealed what was in that bag. Remember that bag that the girls had? So they actually, jumping back,
They turned
to where we
Glaber
were,
against him just in time.
And then Glaber, offers that 1,000 denarii, and clearly we see the loyalty his men have is overcome by money.
No allegiance whatsoever.
None at all.
But I thought that it was kind of cool that for a second he had a posse.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, I see you,
did,
Ashur. You're
yeah.
building your little troop.
Yeah.
And they are cold-blooded killers. They could actually be gladiators if they were trained properly.
Yes, but they're all cold-blooded. They have no hearts, and that's why they were so easily swayed by Glaber's reward.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And he knew that that would probably entice them to cross over and fight for him instead, which was a very smart move on his part.
Yeah.
I'll just pay you. Be on my side.
A part of me thought that Ashur was actually going to die in that scene. And I
Yeah,
was like,
so
wait,
did I.
it would be too soon though. And it wouldn't have been as much of a payoff until what we saw later on, which was great. He got sent up the mountain by Glaber, and then Sparty, he takes expected action. He says that, just
Well, do you think that Glaber was playing him when he sent him up to the mountain? Or do you think he really expected Glaber to come back?
Oh, you mean Ashur?
I mean, Ashur, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I actually think that he knew. And that's what Glaber actually said that later on.
Oh, the expected.
He took expected action, which was decapitating
But, so that
Ashur.
means that he did think there was a chance, though. Like, he expected that, but he kind of could have seen Ashur return.
Yeah, maybe there was a half expectation.
But I didn't expect that. I expected Ashur to return.
He did return. He returned with his head free of his body.
Well, I expected him to return in full, though. I did not think that when he went up there, because I've been saying Spartacus has been a little punk, kind of, by letting Ilithyia live, which I don't think that he should have done as well. But I expected him to let Ashur live, because I felt like there was going to be something where he wanted, Ashur maybe to fight or duke it out in combat. So I didn't expect him to say that it was okay when Crixus suggested that they kill Ashur. I did not expect that at all.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't know what to expect at that moment, but I'm actually happy that Spartacus went that route, because Ashur he's not a woman. He's not Ilithyia. He's a man. He's a guy who he's had that relationship with, and he's known him in the past for being this really sly character and being someone who's hurt a lot of people in many different ways. Right. So that's why he thinks it's okay. Of course, he's a dark-sided individual. Spartacus is going to want to kill him.
But so was Ilithyia. Why did he let Ilithyia live?
Ilithyia a woman, and she's carrying that baby. She's got all kinds of things that would be bad
karma. She said it herself.
Karma.
She is a monster.
Yeah, she is a
and
monster.
Ashur is a monster too. So unfortunately, we did lose a monster today.
Yes,
but it was for good cause.
It was.
And what I was surprised about was when Crixus was going to fight him, Naevia stepped in.
Yeah, and that was a really interesting scene. I actually liked that fight a lot.
I've been asking for her to step up, and we slowly but surely start to see her training by the god of the arena, Crixus. And now she was able to finally get her vengeance on.
Yeah, that's right. And so, like, the way that the rebels approached him too when Ashur got up there, and right before the fight with Naevia, it was just like everybody despised him, and that's what made it so great. Everybody hated him, and he was alone. Ashur didn't have his men with him. He didn't even have a weapon to defend himself with, and he's all whining and crying. And he's being
about his wound on his arm, right?
Yeah, because he got shot, and that was the most sickly I've seen him. So he was at a little bit of a disadvantage, but at the same time, you know what? He always bitches and complains.
He does.
And that's how he gets out of stuff. Remember when Oenomaus and him had that little scuffle at the end of season 1, and Oenomaus was about to, kill him?
He does. He begs right before.
He begs all the time, and then, we see them fight eventually. And that it was a great fight. I'm glad that Naevia finally got in the zone, and she was able to slice him up a little bit. And how did you feel when that was going on?
Well, when she stopped Crixus, I was scared, because I was like, please, I can't take it. If you take Mira away from me and Naevia, I don't have enough of a relationship with Saxa to continue. And I'm so attached to these ladies in this show. I mean, I really have relationships with them. We've seen Mira's character grow from her becoming a slave to being stronger. And then we've seen Naevia grow from falling in love to Crixus and training and then becoming a warrior herself. And so if they were going to let her fight, when we know Ashur's not the best gladiator, but he was a gladiator.
That's right.
And so I seriously thought that he was going to kill her. For that moment, I was really scared.
Yeah, I did too, because when we saw her swinging at first, you know, I remarked like, oh, she's actually, you know, she's doing something, but then Ashur's like, he's a man.
And he's fighting with one arm.
Yeah, it's true. And he's strong. I'm sure he's like 3 times as strong as she is, because she's so tiny and petite. But she's, you know, she has been trained by Crixus, thankfully, and he was playing with her, and it seemed like,
he wasn't even fighting her that hard. You noticed that too? Like it seemed like he was kind of toying with her a little bit, like ha ha ha. I'm, you know, gonna just play with you until it's time for you to die.
And he kept playing with everybody else's emotions too, because he was saying so many derogatory comments and stuff about him being inside her before, and him doing this to her and that. And
now, did we know that he had been inside her? But do we know that they had slept together?
Oh yeah, in season 1, they actually he was gifted Naevia by
I remember that.
That's
oh
right.
my God.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys at home remember that. I completely had forgotten about that. But when Ashur had put that back out there and had said that, I was like, wait, when did he sleep with her? Maybe in the mines, but it wasn't. It was season 1.
Yes.
That's right. So you know why I also was scared for her life was because one thing that we see oftentimes amongst Crixus and Naevia is these long looks of love. They really look deep into each other's eyes, and I really believe their relationship. And even when they changed Naevia's the actress, I felt like this character is connecting to Crixus as well. They've done a good job with casting because I believe both women are in love with Crixus.
Same here.
But at the same time, we don't see those looks of love with Mira and Spartacus. You know, and so I felt like the way that Spartacus handled Mira's death would be nothing in comparison to the way Crixus would handle Mira's. Because if you notice, when Mira...
You mean Crixus would handle...
I mean, to Naevia.
Naevia's,
yeah.
yes.
Because when Mira passed away, Spartacus did not shed one tear. Spartacus stayed very strong. Okay, let's continue with this battle. How dare you get my ex-girlfriend killed, but let's keep the party going.
That's a good point. And she actually died really quickly.
She did.
She got hit by that axe, and she was
we didn't
so
see
bloody.
One tear shed.
And he carried her up the mountain. Who knows how long it actually takes to go up the mountain.
Right.
And he's like, oh, let's cauterize the wound. You know, let's save her. And her eyes are already closed by the time that happens, and everybody's just looking around like, crap, she's dead.
But did you see his reactions, though? Like, imagine...
You mean lack of reaction?
Yeah, exactly. Lack of reaction.
Yeah.
Because the way that he reacted was just very... it was removed to me.
Yeah,
and I
that's a good point.
expected it to be more dramatic for him because I thought maybe, okay, well, this will be the moment that you realize you love her. But it wasn't. And so he handled it the way that a friend would handle it, or maybe a... not a coworker, but what would you call gladiator to gladiator?
A brother.
But what would it be for Mira? Not a brother-sister relationship,
I
I
guess
guess.
a brother-sister,
Like that's how
but-
he handled it. He didn't handle it like this was somebody that he loved.
Maybe it was kind of like the relationship, like where it's like a fresh new girlfriend, and it's like someone like, oh, if something happens to them, I can just remove myself really easily from the relationship.
Well, I feel like that's what happened.
Yeah, maybe that's
and
what it was.
with Crixus and Naevia, we see Crixus fall to the ground on his knees when he thought that he had lost Naevia. Why?
Yeah.
Like it just was a completely different reaction. I feared for Crixus in that moment when she was fighting Ashur, and I feared for Naevia and the season because there's no way that if she died, I could have taken it season 3.
Yeah, that's very true. And in that fight, I thought it was well choreographed. I enjoyed it.
It was.
And I felt like she may have been killed too in some moments. Like I feel right when he was behind her and he was just like whispering all those
when he had her
disgusting
head
comments.
pulled back.
Yeah, and he was about to stab her, and she just chopped his balls off.
Oh, that was the moment that I had been waiting for. When she chopped him in the balls, as you said. That's a very private part for a man, and you
Very
pretty
vulnerable.
much took his masculinity the way that he took your womanhood.
There was no way
that was complete payback and vengeance.
Oh yeah, there was no way he was going to recover from that. As soon as she sliced and diced down south, he was gone.
Oh, we knew. Okay, she was winning. And then you see Crixus' face light up. Like, yes, my woman is winning. There's a chance.
That's
Because
right.
he was scared and everybody was going to jump in. You see Oenomaus holding himself back. You see Spartacus holding him, getting held back because they all are like, we're going to jump in. We're not going to let you kill Naevia. I could see that they all wanted a piece of it. But what I found also very interesting was in this moment of battle that there was still 20-second pauses for Ashur's speeches.
Yeah.
You're in combat, and then Ashur gets to give a speech about the things that he's done to you,
Yeah.
and she allows him time to speak on it so that everybody can hear what he has to say. But in real combat, I feel like only on Spartacus would that happen, because in real combat, you're not going to let the person give an entire speech before it's your opportunity to kill them.
Well, see, that's the way we hate Ashur so much, and that's I'm sure that's what the writers did. They did that on purpose because they want us to hate him even more. Like right at that moment of death, they don't want us to feel any pity for him. If he's just going to keep spouting off all those foul and terrible things.
So they moved us with their words.
Oh, yeah. They made it. And I thought it was disgusting the way he was still talking about that stuff. No remorse at all whatsoever. He was just
great point.
picking at
That's a great
everybody
point.
to the very end. And you know what? That's classic Ashur.
He stayed true to character.
He did.
I think that's an amazing point, Sean.
And I had, earlier this week, I had like one of my Twitter followers. She mentioned, let's talk about Ashur some more. Hey, we're talking a lot about him right now.
I know he's getting a lot of play time,
Yeah.
and oh my gosh, my head is down for him right now.
I know.
Because I did not think that they would kill off the true antagonist on the show.
He was.
Out of everybody, I hate him more than I hate Glaber.
Yeah.
Because
absolutely.
he's been with us for so long. He's created so much torment. But it's good that he died. He finally deserved it.
He got his comeuppings.
And his head being taken back to Glaber.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
That was
Glaber
good.
didn't care.
No, he didn't.
Not a
because
friend at all.
He knew it was going to happen, and that's why he sent him to test his loyalty. And you know what? He used him like a pawn.
He did.
Well deserved.
Well deserved. But you know what? I had a moment of peace at that when Ashur was killed because I was happy for Lucretia.
Yeah. So
Because she didn't
wouldn't-
have to be with him anymore.
Excellent point.
And I hated those rape scenes. I hated him taking constant advantage of her. As awful as she treated him, I know, because he was a slave. But at the same time, it's just awful to see that happen to a woman. I mean, when the shoe's on the other foot, I don't know why it bothered me so much, because you would think that we're like, yes, vengeance back to Lucretia, but it wasn't. It was very painful for me to see that. So I was very excited that she didn't have to marry him.
Yeah, absolutely right. And speaking of Lucretia, getting back to her, and that was an awesome battle scene up top, but now we're going to bring it back down to Ilithyia and Lucretia, and they are down because we don't like them very much either. So Ilithyia and Lucretia, they're still friendly. They're in that carriage, going through the forest. It looks, they're going back towards the fort where Glaber is. And, it's friendly, but there's still something that's going on behind Lucretia's eyes. Always something, some kind of scheming, and we don't know exactly what it is, because obviously, if they revealed it to us, then it would be a pathetic fallacy, which is a Shakespearean term.
She is never to be trusted. We already know that.
So we know that she was promised to Ashur. She revealed that to Ilithyia.
And that was good that she revealed it, because I felt like that was part of her plotting too. She knew that somehow she could get Ilithyia on her side to help her with that situation.
She did. And now I feel like at this point, when they're in the carriage, Ilithyia actually does care about Lucretia, but Lucretia's still scheming. That's what I feel is going on.
You felt like it was genuine.
Yeah, I felt like Ilithyia was genuine, but not Lucretia.
Right.
Lucretia's had this whole thing planned from day one of being found there by Glaber and by Ilithyia in the villa. So she's clutching this bag. What's in the bag? We don't see later on that it's that serpent bracelet.
Right.
And then that's where everything with Glaber and Ashur happens. And now let's get to the scene, the really juicy scene where it all comes to the climax with the baby. So they're alone. It's perfect plan. No one is left in the villa.
Well, before that, we see them on the balcony.
Oh yeah,
though.
that's right.
So
Let's
the
go to
balcony scene was first. Now this was when we thought, okay, now this is the opportunity for Ilithyia to push Lucretia off. This is her golden moment. I knew something was going to stop them, though, that it wasn't going to happen like that.
And this was because Glaber, hinted to Ilithyia that he wanted her, the oracle, to be shut up as well.
Because she knew too much information.
Yes.
He felt like Ilithyia needed to kill her, once again, to prove her allegiance to Glaber. But at the same time, I felt like, gosh, you don't really have to do that. I didn't think that it was necessary for Ilithyia to kill Lucretia. I felt like you don't even love your husband, really. I mean, so and obviously you think this is a real friendship.
I feel like she does love her husband, actually.
You think they love each other again?
Because they bonded with that whole monster moment. Like, we're both monsters. Everything, let's leave it in the past.
The passionate love and blood scene.
Yeah, the bloody bath. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a awesome scene last episode. But I didn't think that they were going to be back true in love again. But I guess they are. And Ilithyia doesn't want to lose her rank in Glaber's life. So I guess that would make sense for her to kill Lucretia. And they don't really have allegiance to each other. So I thought that was going to be the moment, but then her water breaks.
Yeah. And right when she's about to push her off, her hands are up, and maybe Lucretia saw that her hands are up.
Yeah, I think Lucretia would have saw that.
I think she kind of noticed a little bit, but then the water breaks, and that was it. She missed her opportunity to do something.
Well, I was super excited when her water broke because I was like, yes, we get to see the baby. Yeah. So I was very excited about that. I was hoping that she wouldn't be pregnant until next season because we see her getting maybe like 4 months pregnant like every single episode. Yeah, she's like 4 months, and then it goes to 6, and then it goes like 8. So she automatically. That's the newborn right there.
There it is.
So fast forward to her not having the opportunity in that moment to kill Lucretia because her water breaks, to her being on the bed and Lucretia being by her side.
Yeah.
And now we see is her golden opportunity for Lucretia to get the baby.
That's right. And she starts silencing all the slaves, but we hear a little bit of peeps and squeaks, and screams here and there within the villa. And Ilithia's like, what's that? What? I thought I heard something. And here we have Lucretia come in, bloodied with that dagger in her hand.
I was like, where is that blood coming from? I had no idea when she first walked in what she was doing. I wasn't sure if she had cut herself or
she did before.
Yeah, I didn't know what exactly she was up to until I saw her kill the slave.
Yeah.
And she just went in on that slave.
She did. And she stabbed, oh my gosh, it was like 15, 20 times she stabbed her. She stabbed her in the throat too, just to make sure. No, just to make sure she wouldn't make any more noises and alert the other Roman guards.
Roughness.
Yeah, but that was a perfect moment, perfect plan, well executed, brought to fruition. And, everybody's battling, and she and Ilithyia are alone, and Ilithyia is completely incapacitated because she's having the baby. She's in pain, in like the pregnancy pains, right? She's about to give birth.
Yeah, I was wondering if there was going to be a complication with the baby because she was saying that it feels like it was gnawing at her. And so I was like, well, if you feel like it's gnawing at you, maybe it's turned upside down. So I was assuming that they were going to show Lucretia taking the baby out of Ilithyia. I thought we were going to get to see that.
Yeah, that would have been interesting, but obviously she did take it out of her with the dagger.
I wanted to see it though. I wanted to see the C-section.
Oh my gosh, it was pretty.
I wanted to see her pull the baby out. They show us everything else on this show.
Yeah.
So they probably did have that scene and they edited it out.
Maybe it was like nice and gory, like the rest of Spartacus is.
Yeah, that's it. I was hoping for a bloody baby scene.
And they're just like, oh, let's keep it under an hour. Let's cut that scene out. We don't need that one in there.
So we see now Lucretia with the baby in hand. This newborn baby, and she's at the cliff, and Ilithyia is crawling towards her.
Yeah. So that was a really powerful scene too, and the music was going. You enjoyed it, didn't you? Wasn't that
music amazing? I was like, Sean, what kind of music is that? It was like opera, but you said it was like
a theatrical too,
yeah.
Seriously, it felt like I was in the movies, man. I really enjoyed it. That's what I love about Spartacus. The music on the show, the way they film it, like the slow motion scenes, like all this stuff. It just makes it so great. And it felt so climactic because it kept going between Ilithyia and Lucretia.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And then Glaber fighting Spartacus and the forest thing, all that stuff. And it was just the back and forth. What's gonna happen? It
was like two separate fight scenes going on at the same time.
Exactly, two different struggles, and then we have her. And I still was like, wait, is she gonna really go off the cliff with the baby, or is she gonna stand there? Is she gonna finish Ilithyia off? And then we see what happens.
Well, I wasn't sure if Ilithyia was gonna grab her in the nick of time. Yeah. I was hoping that somehow she would be stopped. But when we see her jump to her death and meet her husband in the afterlife
with their child, who's actually Spartacus's
child. I was shocked because while we were watching the show, I said to you, I was like, oh my gosh, I hope Spartacus sees or rushes in time to save his baby. So next season, we're probably going to see it revealed, his reaction to the baby having been taken.
Yeah. Oh, are you going to predictions
that was
early?
accidentally a prediction, but I can foresee that. Yeah. I just cannot believe the second death, Lucretia.
So
she has fallen.
Yeah, that was very amazing. So yeah, it's like she has died 2 times now.
Yes.
Very
the
interesting.
same exact same situation like you had said the first time, except for this time it was Ilithia's baby who was cut out of her, whereas before on last season we see Lucretia's baby cut out of her. So
only that baby didn't survive.
Right, but she says that this is a blessing or an offering from the gods, that you were just a carrier of the child. And so when she jumps over, it's almost, she had no remorse either.
No, she didn't.
She felt like Ilithyia was just a vessel.
Yeah, and you know what? I actually feel like at the end, Lucretia, even though all of her scheming was going on and she perfectly planned everything, she's still crazy. She's nutty.
Oh, we see her go back into character of the nut she was when we first were reintroduced to her this season.
That's right.
She went back to that same person. So in all actuality, she was crazy this entire time. She was just pretending to be sane.
Wow.
That's real craziness right there.
Ooh, that was a really good observation. High five across the table.
High five across the
Boom.
table.
So, you know, we just talked about, you know, that scene going back and forth between the battle in the forest and the battle at the command post with Glaber. And then we have Glaber, you know, getting clobbered pretty much. In the forest, we have the whole, you know, fight scene, and he's saying, fall back, fall back. The first time we see the Romans say fall back. That was pretty insane.
It was. And what I love was the army's tactic against the Romans, because they use the same exact what did you call it, catapult? Or
yeah, they used the catapults.
Yeah, catapults to fire off the same fire bombs that they had given to them when they were all contained. Now they're returning the favor.
That's right.
They stole theirs.
Yeah, absolutely. And a little bit before that, so I alluded last time that something's going to happen. They're going to get outflanked in some way.
Right.
And this is because I read a little bit of the history, and this actually happened. Spartacus and the rebels, they maneuvered down vines on the side of the freaking mountain to get behind the men.
Wasn't that a crazy scene? We thought someone was going to hurt themselves and drop.
Yeah, when Agron was going down, he was the least important guy, obviously.
I thought Agron, out of everybody, was going to die.
I thought he would have died too, and that was pretty interesting how they all survived. Those 4 men survived, which is, you know, it's fair.
Now, he called who by his side? Agron, Crixus,
and
Gannicus.
That's right.
And I was wondering why he didn't call Oenomaus, but you said
the eye.
The eye.
Yeah, he can't see. He's more valuable protecting everybody else.
That's
upstairs.
true. But I still felt like, come on now, you want Oenomaus by your side. I mean,
well, if he went down, he was for sure gonna die. But we end up seeing, we get, you know, that happens anyway. But so we see more stealth, tactical espionage action.
Right, silent but deadly.
Silent kills, them going and slitting everybody's throat so that they don't, you know, they don't scream out, the Romans don't raise the alarm. And then they outflank them, like you said, with those catapults and the fires. And Glaber notices, he sends men down there, he goes down there himself, and the battle erupts in the forest, which is a pretty awesome battle. I enjoyed watching it. And we see the Egyptian, that big, strong guy.
The Egyptian, oh my gosh. He's lethal.
Very.
I mean, it was really hard to take him down. I was surprised at how strong he was. Where did he learn his training and his fighting skills from? Because the gladiators need to take some of those lessons.
Yeah, seriously. And we never get to really find out who he was.
Yes, I would have loved for that to have been revealed.
Yeah.
But
maybe they'll talk about it next season. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, no, because it's a wrap for him too.
It's a wrap. It's a complete wrap.
But we see him stab Oenomaus in the chest.
Yeah, and that just a complete abdomen shot, and there's no way Oenomaus is gonna.
I got a little emotional for that because I really, really do love Oenomaus.
Yeah.
I have respect for him. I love that he, throughout the entire every season, has been the true. He has not changed one time.
Yes,
he has been a very respectable, commendable. I mean, he's just a warrior and one of the best gladiators. I mean, he is their doctore.
Mm-hmm. He was their teacher.
And so for you to lose your trainer, your master, you know, and I was really, really sad about that.
And someone else is going to have to...
I did not expect for him to die.
No, well, I kind of half expected it. You know, like last time I did the prediction. Like
he's
got that messed up eye. That's like a practically mortal wound. He's ruined. You know.
He looked great though for having that wound.
He did look cool.
It was stitched up very nicely. He was healing very well.
It looked awesome. And if he continued to, you know, into the next season, then that would have been pretty awesome. That would have been a cool scar. But at the same time, you know, that's like it was foreshadowing that he was going to die. It was. And then we have right after he gets stabbed and impaled by the Egyptian, in comes Gannicus, that awesome Gannicus, you know, saving the day.
I mean, he starts breaking out some wrestling moves. I thought it was like WWF going on because he was like, he started attacking the Egyptian, and then we knew, oh, it's over for you, Egyptian.
That's right.
And Gannicus too also had to pay his vengeance to the Egyptian for having killed what Oenomaus later on calls him, his brother.
Yes, that's right.
And we finally got to see him make peace with Oenomaus.
Yeah.
And I was so much hoping for that, because after he had slept with Oenomaus' wife, we never really knew if they were going to be brothers again or get back, you know, in good with each other. And so I'm happy that before he passed away, he was able to kind of bless Gannicus with that.
Yeah, thank goodness for that. You know, we left on a good note,
Right.
with their
With
relationship.
peace.
And another good note I got to see, and it was pretty interesting, was the chop in the head on the Egyptian. That guy, we've had it in for this guy. We've wanted to see him fall. He's been so tough, and he got chopped in the head by that
the brain,
blade. It's seriously brain particles of bone and everything spewing out.
I love that.
It was
You know,
great.
the blood and guts is like my favorite part. The sex is some of your favorite part, but the blood and guts is mine.
I like the violence and the sex. Okay, so
We didn't
equally.
get any of this episode.
And it totally made sense. I'm fine with not getting sex this episode. I knew there wouldn't be any because there has to be so much dying this time, and it happened.
Yeah, but it took a long time for the dying to come to start. Well, I mean, it did start with Mira, but I thought there was going to be more intense fighting from the jump of the scene. And so it would have been nice if maybe like we got to see Crixus and Naevia get it on, you know, one time or something up on the mountain.
Actually, I would have liked to see. I would have liked to see Mira and Spartacus get it on
one
one
last
last
time.
That would have been nice.
That would have been sweet.
And actually, that would have been even more of an indicator that she was probably going to die.
Yes.
Because it's like, oh, they're making love again. They're getting over this fight that they've been having.
But whose face do we see and what flashes do we see when Spartacus finally... Oh, I'm
Impales.
going to reveal it. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, guys.
Oh, that's
Spartacus
okay.
finally
That's
kills
okay.
Glaber.
No, that's okay. So he finally, he gets. So we jump a little bit ahead.
Yes.
Right, and we're in the villa now, and in the ludus area, like down on the sand, and they're Spartacus is fighting. All his men are fighting. They're obviously overwhelming the Romans.
Right.
And Glaber and him, they're having this intense little battle off to the side. They're slicing and dicing each other, and obviously Glaber is so much more bloodied than Spartacus is. Spartacus is just dirty. Right.
Well, of course. I mean, but what I love is that it was them two duking it out. I would have hated for anybody else to have that fight scene with Glaber at the end because Spartacus needed his vengeance.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I love that the women were handling their own. Saxa was over there. Naevia was over there. Neither of them died. And so hopefully we'll see more of them next season. But everybody was holding their own. Gannicus and Agron, everybody was just going in while Spartacus had his final opportunity to get Glaber.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And that was a great fight scene too. It was a little bit shorter with them two fighting.
It was. I thought it was going to be a lot more prolonged.
But it was good. It was satisfying. I enjoyed it, and I did not imagine that they would have gotten to that point. And I like the exchange of words right at the end.
Of course, it wouldn't be a fight scene without a dialogue between the two.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know, Spartacus.
and right when I actually thought that Glaber was going to make it out of there until Spartacus retorted back with, no, I'm a free man. I'm not a slave.
Yes, he
I'm
said
a
he
free
wouldn't
man.
die at the hand of a slave.
Yes.
And I love that he corrected him.
Yes, and when he did, I knew it was over for Glaber right then.
Yeah, and I think Glaber knew it was over for himself too.
Absolutely.
But I love that he made him bow down in front of all of Spartacus's army and kill him right there in front and bow down as if he was the slave in that moment.
That's right. And he had done that. That was an allusion to the first season.
Right.
When he kept telling him, Glaber kept telling him, you need to bow before me because
Yep.
I'm a Roman and you're a slave now. And finally, he's there. He's in that position. And what happens? Spartacus takes the gladius and just impales him in the mouth, man.
Oh, my gosh.
That was probably one of the goriest scenes for a male.
And we see the blood flow up.
And we see all the blood coming out of his mouth. And I thought he was going to chop off his head, but I guess we had a lot of head chopping.
Yeah, there was a
going
lot
on.
of choppage in this episode.
And so he kept his whole head intact, and he just impaled him in the mouth into his throat, and
That was a great scene.
gone.
But back to the point that I was saying, which I mentioned earlier, about whose face did he see when he killed Glaber?
That's right, Sora.
Exactly. That's the woman that he loves. And so unfortunately, he wasn't thinking about Mira this episode. He was like, deuces, see ya, like he just was on to the next.
He was so removed.
He was still ready to fight his vengeance for the life of his woman. And I love that because I love how in love he is with her, because you mentioned last time that he would never love another woman again,
That's
that she
right.
told him that. And he hasn't. He did not give Mira his heart. And that's why we got to see these flashes of her. And I love that she was introduced and we get a little piece of her every single episode.
I know, I like that too. I want her to be in more dream sequences coming up. And then I really don't know how Spartacus is going to find another woman. Like, who's going to fill the shoes that Mira had or Sora?
Mira
no one
was
can.
so beautiful. And I loved that she became his right-hand woman. I just really, really respected her and her training, Katrina Law's training that she went through in order to prepare for this role. And so I'm really excited to see where she goes on next from this. Now that she's been killed off, maybe we'll see her in some of his dreams. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we knew the entire time that she didn't have his heart and that his wife always did.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
But he
So
got his vengeance.
let's go ahead and move on to the favorite quotes now because we're running a little short on time.
Yeah, well, maybe we should take a commercial
wanna do
break
that?
really quick and then we'll do our quotes. So that way they can get a little breaky break.
Very
They
well.
can go grab something to drink real quick.
AfterBuzz TV.
Hi, I was once like you, a lazy, angry loner whose only joy was watching TV and surfing the net. And, like you, after I'd see one of my favorite TV shows, I'd be so excited and have so many questions that I'd actually have to talk to my douchebag coworkers about it at the water cooler. Then I discovered AfterBuzzTV.com. AfterBuzz TV produces after-show webcasts and podcasts for TV series of all kinds, like post-game wrap-up shows for all your favorite TV shows. AfterBuzz TV hosts are industry insiders who break down episodes of shows, take calls from fans, and interview cast and crew from each series, with over 60 different after shows, from Boardwalk Empire to American Idol to Vampire Diaries to Real Housewives, and more. Now, after a night of TV, I can ignore my stupid coworkers, who I hate, and go straight to my desk and watch or listen to all my favorite AfterBuzz TV after shows, and have all the TV fan interaction I need. Thank you, AfterBuzz TV.
AfterBuzz TV. What do you want to buzz about?
And we are back.
We have some quotes for you guys that really stood out to us. We hope they stood out to you as well because they penetrated us. But my first quote
that
is,
sounded dirty.
Didn't it sound kind of dirty?
That's what she said.
You were the man that led us to her death. At least she claimed her as a warrior. And that is what the German had said to Spartacus when he started attacking him for having killed Mira, or supposedly he blamed him for having killed Mira, but
Yes.
really it was Spartacus's fault. But I loved that the end was that she claimed hers as a warrior.
Yeah.
So that was paying tribute to Mira because I felt like that was so symbolic of her training, her fighting, and this progression that we see in her life and the strength that she had at the very end. She was a warrior. She died as a warrior.
She did. She was a great archer.
She
and
was. We
I
always see her
enjoyed that.
throwing and getting these arrows in every single situation.
Yeah.
She gets everybody out of problems. At least every episode, we see that arrow saving somebody's life.
Yeah, true that. We just finished dining on the most succulent lamb. If you have luck, there may be a few scraps left. And that was Ashur telling the Roman commander to go back and get some food, just like rubbing it in his face that he's like the favorite dog.
Oh my
right?
gosh. Of course. Leave it to Ashur. We sit here waiting to die and he tends the freaking weeds. That was the German saying that about Spartacus tending the weeds, which I kind of felt like that with the Germans as well, was that Spartacus was more of a lover than a fighter this season. And as lethal as he is, I
Yes.
felt like he was just very soft-hearted, and that was kind of a quote that I feel like symbolized that.
Good point. Seize tongue and open fucking ears.
We all know what that means.
Yes, and that was Crixus telling that to the other Germans to be quiet and listen to Spartacus talking.
Well, I have a curse word too that unfortunately is in my quote that I don't know.
Go
I
ahead.
guess I can say poop instead of it, but it won't sound as good.
No,
A
just
few more weeks and your heir will be born in a house tainted with blood and shit.
Yes.
So that was Ilithyia trying to get out of having the baby there. She wanted to go to Rome.
Yeah.
But it's just the way that they use these words and the way that they express themselves. It's just so graphic. And I just
It is.
love that I can visualize everything that they say.
It's good, and I enjoy it, man.
Yeah, I as well.
Such an animal never greets the afterlife, absent desperate blood.
Ooh, which one was that?
You know what? I forgot exactly who said this. Oh, this was Glaber.
Glaber.
I was like, is this Ashur or Glaber talking? But I remember it was Glaber after he learns that there's that desperate beast, behind
Yes.
Spartacus's eyes from Ashur's mouth.
Yes. Totally, and he definitely let Glaber know that, and I think that was also to inflict fear in Glaber to make him rush it even more.
Yeah.
To get ready and prepared for the battle. He's a servant forever seeking the heat of power and position, and this was in the situation talking about Ashur once again, a fan favorite. We all love Ashur, but this was Ilithyia trying to plot and get Glaber to betray and turn on Ashur.
Ah, yes.
And you know, I'm a huge fan of their scheming, so had to write that quote down.
I have been fortunate to seize opportunity the Romans see mad. And that was Spartacus saying that every time he has these, brilliant, bold plans, and they're always ones that are crazy that the Romans never expect, and that's how he's able to pull this off and win all these battles.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Definitely. It won't erase the memory of my cock inside her.
Ooh.
Now, this was a quote I wrote down because I didn't like it, but it was still good because it stayed true to Ashur's character.
It did.
And you had mentioned earlier when we were talking about it, when he had her head and he's still talking mess the entire time, even before he dies. And I just was, that really, really affected me.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I can't, I believe that he would have been saying stuff like that to the end, and it stayed true to his character. So
definitely.
It's a good thing it happened, but, of
and
course.
And you see Crixus cringe when he said it.
Everybody cringed. Yeah. So anyway, I must deliver a message to Glaber. Your head would serve equal purpose. That was an exchange between Ashur and Crixus.
Yes, I remember that too, and that penetrated me as well. Once again, penetrated me. Now, who I'm very saddened by is Oenomaus passing. So I have a quote from him: "When signal comes, death shall quickly follow."
Yes.
And I just love that he, once again, we keep saying stayed true to character. He is a leader. And so this is him preparing them for battle, letting them know that when it's our time, we are going to fight even till the death.
You were right. It is not a task to clear a man's head from his shoulders in a single blow.
Oh, that was a good one.
That was a good one. That was from Naevia's mouth.
That was a really good one.
Regarding taking Ashur's head away from his shoulders.
There was one that Oenomaus said that I wanted to give him credit for again. Because do you remember when he said, it was something about, he was talking to them and saying something about like a true warrior fights no matter if he's harmed or not.
Yes, I did.
Did you write that one down?
No, I thought you were going to write that one down.
I thought I was too.
Well, that's okay. That was a good quote. Maybe one of our fans out there can tweet it at us or something, or
Oh yeah, if you guys tweeted us at AFTERBUZZ TV or at spicy_Madi or at the Sean Overman as well.
Yeah, and it's not too late. You guys can call in right now 424-256-1729 if you guys want to chat with us for a few minutes. On this last finale discussion, that would be awesome.
It would be super cool.
And last quote that I have is, "The Roman finally learns his place." And that was where Spartacus was making Glaber kneel when he had his blade in his side.
I love that when we say the quotes, we have to say it like them.
Yeah, you have to. It's poetic.
And then my last one is Ilithyia to Lucretia, or Lucretia to Ilithyia, I'm sorry, saying that there's no one left to come between us.
Yeah.
At that moment, I knew some stuff was about to pop off.
That's right. Or pop out.
Or pop out. Yeah, that's funny. But that one, I was just like, oh my God, what's going to happen?
Mm-hmm. So now let's go ahead and do our shout outs.
Yes, and we have a lot of fans that we love to death that have been tweeting at us and leaving comments on our YouTube page. We greatly appreciate that. What we would love even more is if you guys to download us on iTunes and comment there as well, because we check them everywhere. Yes, we do, but especially the iTunes, so that way we can know exactly what you guys want to hear from us, what you loved, what you hated, any suggestions that you have. It's a great form of communication. Sean and I love this show, and we love to hear from fans like you guys as well. So tweet and rate us on iTunes.
Yep, absolutely. And if you guys, taking iTunes with you, just go ahead and download it into your iPod. If you guys are working out and you guys are big Spartacus fans, listen to it while you're working out, while you're jogging,
while you're doing your Gladiator workout.
Be sure to comment on us, man. I have some shout outs for a couple of fans. Do you have any in particular?
Yeah, I do. I have a couple. I might have the same ones as you, because I love that you guys always tweet at us together so that we know what's going on and what you guys loved. And so if we have the same ones, I'll just back you up on the shout outs.
I got Dark Violet 22 here, and she commented on our last YouTube channel video. I just discovered this show, and I have to say, I totally love it. It's genuinely nice to hear, to have a place to go to analyze episodes and show our appreciation of the show. I'm so glad that somebody else is obsessed with Spartacus as I am. Keep up the good work. P.S. I predict Oenomaus, Glaber, and Mira are going to die this next episode. Maybe Ilithyia too, but I really hope not. Oh,
sounds like some of the predictions are right.
She was right on with some of those predictions. So thank you for commenting that,
and
Dark Violet.
Speaking of Oenomaus, I did write that quote down. I just found it right now. A man is never too weak or too wounded to fight if the cause is greater than his own life.
I like that one.
That one's my favorite this episode.
That one is
I'm
good.
happy that I found it. Good job on my iPad notes.
Excellent. I got Crowboy, thanks to him again for following us. But I need to call this guy out because he must have saw the episode or something early.
He was too dead on his prediction.
He was. And you know what? That's cool. Thank you for commenting and everything. But come on, man. You ruined it.
Spoiler alert. Crowboy.
That was total spoiler alert.
Crowboy82 tweeted at us and he left a comment on our YouTube page, which we greatly appreciate your comments, Crowboy. But he also told us that Ilithyia was going to have the baby, Lucretia was going to steal it and take it over the cliff with her to meet her husband in her afterlife. That was too dead on.
So specific.
So when he said that and we start to see it happening, we're like, he must have seen this episode already or he heard something. There's no way for him to know that.
He did. Another person I got to shout out to, the Woody Man. Let's see. Oh, he got mad because I was saying that everybody got crucified in history, and don't talk about history, Sean, and because I'm spoiling it for him. Woody Man, I have to apologize because actually I was referring not to history but to the 1960 movie with Kirk Douglas, and that's what happened in the end of that because it's a 3-hour movie, right? Everybody gets their comeuppings. It's a tragedy, so that's not necessarily the way that this is going to come out. Who knows what's going to happen next season? I'm sure it's going to be a tragedy, but we don't exactly know what's going to happen. You don't have to read history. I did, and I didn't give any spoilers on what's going to happen. I just said crucified because people always get crucified in Rome.
I love that you give us a history report too, because then you can make reference to what is true and really happened. Because I remember when the vine scene was going on, you were like, they really did come down on the vines. That was actually in history. So I love being able to make that reference back and forth.
Yeah.
I would definitely think it's good stuff.
And the last person I got, Jaden's Playlist. Thank you for your comments on YouTube. Really appreciate it. We're kind of running short on time, so let's go ahead and move over to your
I just want to give boy_Marvel and, of course, MG Universe a shout out.
Those guys are awesome.
Thank you guys for following us and for tuning into us and making sure that you guys leave comments for us and tweeting at us. MG Universe, you always have great input. Thank you very much. We have enjoyed doing this entire season and you being a part of it afterwards. We get a tweet from him every single episode.
That guy's awesome.
He has been consistently and just definitely a true Spartacus fan.
Yes,
he makes predictions with us. He lets us know his opinions on the show, and I love that.
And he tweets at the cast too. He tweets at Stephen S. Tonight, and they respond to him as well. So he's very interactive out there on Twitter. So good for him.
MG Universe, we're gonna miss you, at least until Spartacus season 3 comes back.
And let's go ahead and move into news and gossip. And that's a cue to Phil to bring up those pictures I sent.
News and gossip.
But I can start talking about my tweets.
AfterBuzz TV News.
So tweet I got. So up there in the Twittersphere. Earlier today,
Twitterland.
Yeah, in Tweetland, Dan F, who we know as Agron, Dan Farragel, that's Agron on the show. I'm following him on Twitter, and we all know and love him. He tweeted that there hasn't been this much anticipation for a show since Who Shot Mr. Burns on The Simpsons.
Oh!
And he said, this is really entertaining. He said, if you watch it again, you'll see it was Ashur, not Maggie.
It was Ashur, not Maggie?
It was Ashur that shot Mr. Burns. He's saying he's making a joke. Yeah. He's saying that's how sly Ashur is.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Very entertaining. Good one. Okay, so up here on the screen, I have a couple shots. This is actually who we know as Naevia.
Right.
Cynthia Adai Robinson. And she's actually featured here in this table book that's actually being sold to TJ Robbins, I think, is the guy he's the photographer. And he actually he directed the last episode, Monsters.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
So he's also a photographer too, and he took this shot here of Naevia, and it's to go ahead and promote. I think it's on my next photo, but it's to help get funds for like cancer research or something. It's
Oh my
really great.
gosh.
Yeah, and then there's Mira, aka Katrina Law.
Oh, Katrina looks a little different right there. That she looks vampire-esque in that photo.
A little bit.
Yeah,
you know,
a little gothic in that photo.
So I guess it's a table book. You know, you go ahead and buy it and you keep it there on your coffee table, whatever. So when your guests are over, they can peruse through it.
I would definitely make a purchase of this.
Oh yeah, and so, like, you know, peruse the beautiful women of Spartacus in there. I wonder who else is in there.
It's kind of like how football teams do, like the Raider girls or
yeah, exactly.
San Diego Charger girls.
That's exactly it.
This is the Spartacus girls.
And it's the name of the book is called In the Tub. So if you guys want to go ahead and research it and, you know, like Bing it, then you guys could find the book and then you can purchase it. And all the proceeds go towards breast cancer research. That's it. So I'm sure
this is Ilithyia right here.
That's Ilithyia, aka.
And we get to see them with a little bit of makeup on in these photos too, because we always see Naevia without makeup on and Katrina Law without makeup on. But I like that we get to see, you know, a little bit of lipstick and eyeshadow and eyeliner here.
Yeah, a little bit of conventional stuff right here. So there's Viva Bianca, and she looks, you know, ravishing as usual. And there she is in a dirty looking tub, but this is, you know, this is for a great
she would
cause.
never like bathe in that on the show.
No, she would be bathing in milk and yogurt.
Right.
So, also back to Twitter stuff. A fan asked, let's see. Oh, a fan asked Dan Farragel, aka Agron, if they wanted to do a drinking game for Sparty tonight for the finale.
Oh, wow,
and
that's cool.
Yeah, and they said, what should they do? And he said, drink when you see CGI blood or when fights slow down. Have fun in hospital.
Oh.
Great stuff.
We should have played that game too.
Yeah, we should have.
We should have been taking shots this whole episode.
We would have been sloshed on the air. Phil, would that have been allowed?
We'll never know.
Darn it, we should have brought it.
Also, our beloved creator, Stephen Estonite, tweeted in a reply to
You know what,
a
though?
fan.
Here, I know you got some great news.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
we should do like a reunion episode, and you guys can do that. You know what I
We
mean?
can drink while we watch it.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll do one season reunion episode.
That sounds good.
That
I'm
sounds good.
down.
It could be
I'll
a
do the
pre-
entire episode drunk.
It could be a preseason, like right before season 3
Yes,
starts.
I
That
love
would
that.
be awesome. We're all getting excited.
Way too excited over here throwing chords around.
Amazing.
Amazing.
So our beloved creator, Stephen Estonite, he tweeted in reply to a fan asking what kind of theme they should have for dinner to celebrate the Spartacus finale. And he said, bring lots of wine.
Bring lots of wine.
To symbolize the blood, I'm sure.
Yes. So true. There was a lot of blood this episode. And they
Oh.
told us the last 2 episodes are going to be enough blood for an entire season.
Yeah.
And it really was intense. It was tons of fighting. We loved it.
Very enjoyable.
Loved it to death, literally.
I sure did too. Yesterday, Stephen Estonite, he tweeted again, Spartacus views on power and conflict will definitely evolve next season. War is truly going to be hell. And he did this in the pound or hashtag Spartacus chat room.
Oh, wow.
Which is pretty interesting. So Spartacus is going to be changing, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in predictions.
Okay. I'm nervous.
Again, Stephen Estonite, another tweet from him. He had favorite quotes this season too, like us, of course, because he writes the stuff. Come on. So
He
anyway,
has it memorized.
his favorite quote is from Glaber to Ilithyia, saying, "A monster, roughly hewn by unfortunate events and given breath by necessity."
That was a good one.
That was where Glaber transformed and Ilithyia at the same time
Yes.
into monsters.
And we keep saying we loved that last episode. The bloody love scene, amazing.
And he actually talks about that a little bit here too. Let me see if I can find the tweet. Well, let's just go down the line and we'll find it. So, this is the next one. So many favorite moments this season. This was a tweet from Stephen tonight. He said, but holy shit, Seppia getting the Kurosawa treatment is high on the list.
So good. So good. I think the last episode was my favorite episode more than this last episode, actually.
I like both of them.
Really?
I really enjoyed both, I think. And I don't even know what Kurosawa is. Phil, do you know what that is? Well, I'm going to go on with my news, but if you can
No
find,
idea.
if you can find what that is, that would be interesting. Another tweet from Steven. Watching the finale with 150 of my closest friends at an undisclosed location in LA. Hint,
He's here.
hint, it's not my house. That's what he said
I
yesterday.
wonder where it could be.
Yeah, that's what he said yesterday.
But that's
So
pretty
he-
cool, 150.
Oh wait,
Yeah.
are you saying Kurosawa?
Yeah, Kurosawa.
Oh, he's a huge Asian film director.
Oh, okay. So it's
Huge,
just like
huge.
bloody.
You gotta look him up.
Oh, okay, I'll look him up later on. So
Does that conclude our tweets?
I got one more tweet to go. He said, or Stephen tonight said this: if I had to be killed during Roman times, I'd prefer death by orgy.
Ooh.
I like that.
Dang, I think I have to agree with him on that one.
I agree too, and I actually tweeted back at him. I retweeted that quote, and I put, "I heartily agree."
Well, you know, in history, orgies used to be for religion, like for religious reasons, and now we've turned them into just fun. But it used to, and that is a true fact. But I love that he put that out there. That's so funny. That stays true to his personality.
Yeah, absolutely hilarious stuff, and thank you, Steven tonight, for being so active on Twitter and giving us such entertaining stuff.
I feel like we have a relationship with him. We've been very connected through Twitter with him.
Me too.
Oh, did you mention last time about Mistresses, the show?
I don't think so, actually.
Well, our fans who miss Verenius, that is Brett Tucker, he is going to be on a TV show called Mistresses by ABC.
Oh.
And this is going to be pretty cool because guess who he gets to work with? Jason George. And Jason George is from Grey's Anatomy.
Oh.
And so this is pretty cool because he also gets to be the husband of Melissa Milano.
Oh,
so
this guy's
Mistresses,
lucky.
yeah, that's pretty cool. You get somebody from Grey's Anatomy and Alyssa Milano. Come on, how hot is she?
Very nice.
You're going from getting, Seppia and being able to be with Katrina Law and, I mean, come on now. Now you get to be with Alyssa Milano.
Spartacus is just propelling everybody's careers.
It is, because these people really did not have a lot of work in America before. And now that they've done this show, they're doing all kinds of things.
They're in high demand.
Right. Before it was just, Austrian stuff, right?
Australian.
New Zealand, yeah. Australian.
And Kiwi stuff.
Well, also, too, since you brought up Steven, we got to mention that he was in an article by tvguide.com. You guys can check it out there. It's called Bring On Bruce Lee. And they interviewed the Spartacus cast and asked them if they could have a weapon in the arena. What would it be? And then also if they could have a sidekick, who would be their sidekick? And so Steven had said that he would have a spear and that he would also have a sidekick as Bruce Lee.
Oh,
so that would be
very cool.
He could have any gladiator and he chooses Bruce Lee. And so also some cool ones was Liam McIntyre. He said that he would just have a stronger guy as his weapon.
I saw that. That was hilarious.
And Arnold Schwarzenegger as his partner.
Very nice.
And then Lucy Lawless, she got deep with hers and said she would just have a fabulous weapon like in Drive. And that she would have...
Like a hammer.
Yeah. I was like, okay.
I like that.
And then she would have Marissa Jarrett from Hairspray as her. Okay. I was like, okay, I see you, Lucy. I don't know where you're going with that.
Right
I don't know if you would make it. But okay. And then Crixus, Manu Bennett, said that his weapon would be Naevia.
Ooh.
And that that would be his weapon, and that his Spartacus would be his partner in crime.
Very
so
cool.
I love that. I love that he chose Naevia and Spartacus.
They're actually going to have 3 people there.
Yes. And then also Liam McIntyre had done an interview before the season finale for AccessHollywood.com. And he kind of gave us a little tidbit about what this episode would be about because he hadn't even seen it. So he taped it and hadn't seen it until tonight. And so he was just saying that we're going to be sad because we're going to lose some of the characters, but that we're going to still be in love with the episode.
Very good.
Yeah, so we had positive things to say, even though there was some negative stuff going on in the episode. And we were saddened. But unfortunately, this is our season finale for AfterBuzz Spartacus Vengeance, as well as the season finale for the actual show Spartacus Vengeance.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
So sad. So what do we foresee happening next season?
Oh, well, obviously, Rome is going to be angered now. And we're going to have legions coming after Spartacus and all of his slaves. Now, of course, it only looks like there's a few slaves out there with Spartacus, maybe 100 or so, or a couple hundred. But, historically, there's supposed to be like thousands with him. There's supposed to be a lot more.
So he's going to go around maybe getting more warriors with him?
So, yeah, I think that's going to happen. And he's going to go out, throughout the Roman countryside, freeing other slaves, decapitating other
more decapitation
dominuses and such. And we're going to see him. Obviously, we're going to see him clashing with Caesar. There's going to be a new antagonist since we already.
I'm excited about that.
I'm really excited too. And then we're going to have Marcus Crassus, who's the richest man in Rome,
who they've mentioned a couple of times, but now he actually gets to be on the show. And we showed his photos before a couple episodes back of who these characters are going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's what I foresee happening. I see Gannicus taking more of a stand with the rebels and making him a more solidified,
Yes.
you know, since he lost his brother now. And maybe he's gonna, I noticed before, you know, we've talked about this, Gannicus had no path. He was always just doing things that other people wanted
Right.
to do. And it feels like now he's getting stronger ties with the rebels. He cares more about Spartacus. You know, they had that cool handshake in this episode.
I agree with you on this. I definitely see him stepping up because we've started to see a transition in character too. He seems like he has kind of pledged allegiance to Spartacus. And one great thing that I love that the writers did was, although we had lost Andy Whitfield from last season and replaced with Liam McIntyre, they merged the 2 seasons together. For season 3, which they claim to be season 2, but the prequel. But I really love that they brought us Gannicus and then merged it with the new Spartacus, and now it's one joint season now with them included, you know.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was really, really good that they were able to bring that back and tie that in full around.
Yeah, I like that too. And I actually see Gannicus getting more drunk.
Oh, of course.
How do you feel
Well,
about
only
that?
prediction that I have is that we know for sure Ilithyia is going to come back, but I just foresee some kind of episode, the first that we're going to see in the beginning, where Naevia trains so that she can step up to lead the army, and we're going to see Saxa play a bigger role as well, because we haven't really heard from her. I think she's going to learn English so that she can communicate, because she is the strongest female warrior.
Absolutely.
And so let's
agree.
wrap up our predictions, because we have to tell you guys goodbye, and we love you. We love Spartacus. It has been amazing rocking out with you on Spartacus Vengeance. We will be here for Spartacus Vengeance season 3, which is really season 4 to us.
Whatever is subtitled.
Whatever, yeah. But we appreciate you guys. Follow us on Twitter and tweet at us at AFTERBUZZ TV as well. And you can reach out to me. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. I'm your girl, Spicy Madi, and you can tweet at me at spicy_MARI.
And you can tweet at me at the Sean Overman on Twitter. You can also find me on Facebook. You can find me wherever. Just go ahead and type in my name, Sean Overman, on Bing, and then you can find me.
And iTunes as well. Download and leave your comments. And thank you to Phil, who's been rocking out with us this entire Spartacus Vengeance season and brought you all this great stuff with us. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.